Hello and welcome to Inside Music, episode number 174. As always, I'm your host, James Shotwell, and it is great to be with you again. My guest this episode is none other than Tommy Vext, the vocalist and frontman for Bad Wolves, a band on 11/7 Music, who many of you may know for their cover of the song Zombie from the Cranberries, which was one of the only American rock songs to go platinum in the year 2018. But let me tell you, there's a whole lot more to love about this group. Bad Wolves' debut album, Disobey, is chock full of these songs that seamlessly blend elements of mainstream rock and metal to create music that is both infectious and important. And when I say important, I mean they're addressing topics that a lot of people don't talk about in music today. They're talking about mental health, they're talking about suicide, they're talking about sobriety and struggles with it. Bad Wolves are out there to make the world a better place, and they do this in everything that is a part of their band. Tommy himself is a person who trains people in sober living, he does training for physical fitness, and he just takes care of himself and he encourages others to do the same. In fact, when I saw the group this week, along with my conversation with Tommy, he made it a point to tell the audience that they need to take care of each other. He stopped the show about 4 songs in and asked people to hug the people they came with, and then asked anyone that came alone to raise their hands. And when people raised their hands, he told everyone to look at those hands and then give those people love, to hug them, to make them feel good, to make them feel welcome. Because some days, all you need in this world is a reminder that you are appreciated for being you, for being here on the planet at this moment, doing your best. And I think it's really great that a band like this is going out of their way to do this, because Bad Wolves are at a very interesting level in the world of rock and roll. Zombie was a massive hit, selling millions of copies all over the world, and every song the band has released since then has gone number 1 at radio and also sold hundreds of thousands of copies. This band is blowing up in a way very few rock bands have in recent years, and yet they make time every single show to make everyone in the audience feel just as important as the people in the audience make them feel, and that's really beautiful. So Tommy and I sat down at 20 Monroe Live in Grand Rapids, Michigan, where the group is supporting Papa Roach and Asking Alexandria to talk about a whole bunch of things. We start with the tour itself and some of his experiences, but then we move into his work in sober living, his history in music, and what fans can expect from the future of Bad Wolves. Earlier this month, the group released their new song, I'll Be There, the first off their upcoming album, and it has been taking off at radio like no other song in their history. And from there, we move into the album itself. It's called Bad Wolves Nation, and it arrives October 25th, once again through 11/7 Music, and then we talk about all the tours that will follow. Bad Wolves is going out with Five Finger Death Punch again this fall, and they will also be doing an acoustic tour in Australia near the end of the year. After we talk about all that, we also get into the state of music itself and why Tommy feels it's so important to have a message in their music. We talk about the disposable lyricism and the disposable songwriting that is tearing apart so many areas of music today, and why Bad Wolves are making it a point to not only write better songs, but to purposely seek out other artists who are also writing important songs and try to get them attention. You know, the hard truth is that A&R in the music industry isn't like it used to be. There just isn't as much money to invest in artists that people aren't sure are going to connect with audiences. But Tommy is making it a point to try to find those bands and help them get into the spotlight the way that labels used to years ago. And I just think it's great. Before we get there, I do need to tell you a few quick things. First and foremost, this episode of Inside Music and every episode of Inside Music is brought to you by Holix, the music industry's leading digital promotional distribution platform. What that means is that record labels, publicists, and independent artists from all over the world turn to Holix for their promotional needs. You can join the likes of Chance the Rapper, Bad Wolves, A Perfect Circle, Tool, Blink-182, Slipknot, and thousands more by joining Holix for free today. Yes, if you visit Holix.com, that's HAULIX.com, and sign up today, you will get 1 month of service for free. If you hate it, cancel before that month is up and you will not be charged. But if you like it, and I think you will, then you found a new place to promote your music. And that's what really matters today, because promotion is never meant more than it does right now. So once again, go to Holix.com, HAULIX.com. I also want to encourage you to check out our YouTube channel. I know I've been saying this for weeks, but we are creating a ton of great content, and we really want you to be a part of the journey that we're on over there. We're creating educational videos on how to navigate the music industry. We're sharing episodes of the podcast. In fact, every episode of Inside Music is available right there, including the one you're listening to right now. And then we also have this thing called Music Biz News, where we break down the weekly headlines and why they're important, so that you are always prepared to talk about music no matter where you go. Finally, Inside Music is now on Spotify. Maybe you're listening there right now, but if you're not, please head over to Spotify and follow us. It helps us to get more insights into who our listeners are, what guests they like, and then that way we can tailor the show to meet your interests. So please head over to Spotify, search Inside Music, and join us today. Now, that's all that I have, so please, if you haven't already, check out Bad Wolves' debut album, Disobey. Get ready for Bad Wolves Nation this fall, and whatever you do, find a way to see this band live. Bad Wolves put on one of the best live shows I have ever seen in my 31 years on this planet, and I think you will agree. So check them out. But for right now, sit back, relax, and enjoy this conversation with the one and only Tommy Vext. Okay, man. Well, did you guys get in last night?
No, we got in this morning. We stayed in Cleveland, Ohio, so that some of the guys' girlfriends came out. Our tour manager and my guitar player and drummer, their girlfriends came into town, and they wanted to go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So we stayed in Cleveland. We stayed back in Cleveland, and it was fun.
Yeah, did you go with them?
I did not. I did nothing at all.
That sounds nice, though.
Yeah, I stayed in the hotel. I had conference calls with management, booking upcoming tours, and staffing some of the upcoming tours, and all the boring, the non-fun stuff.
The things that people don't think of when they think of rock and roll lifestyle.
Yeah. We did go to a strip club in Cleveland the night of the show.
Got a little bit in.
Yeah, it was awful, actually. It was pretty bad, and listen, all women are beautiful, let's be honest, okay? There was just not many.
Okay.
And it was just kind of a dead night. And then every time I go to the strip club, which is not often since Zombie has come out, but it has been on several continents, because we get bored, and sometimes you just go to the strip club and you're like, whatever. And I don't drink, so a bar is kind of not entertaining to me, because then people get drunk and then they're like, ah. So yeah, the strip club. And they play Zombie every single time we get recognized, and it's a weird thing.
Do they ever play it before you get recognized for being there? Like, are you just in the room and it comes on and you have to kind of sit through your own song?
One time in Prague, I walked into a strip club and they were like, they're here. And they just hit it. And that was actually the best time I've ever had in a strip club, because I took the crew out and we had a day off, and USD in Czech kroner is like, I don't know, like 500 USD is like $1 billion. So I was just like, everybody gets a lap dance. I was like the Oprah Winfrey of lap dances that night. Yeah, and like everybody was like, all the girls were like, oh my God, you just like paid my kid's tuition. I was like, it's just, that's $50, lady. Okay, sick. So yeah. These are the things. These are the rock and roll things that happen on tour that are actually fun.
Well, how's this tour been treating you? I know I've been watching a lot of interviews with you recently. So your last big round of press was at Sonic Temple, where it seemed like you did like a whole bunch of like 5 to 8 minute conversations with people on everything.
Yeah, I broke a chair too. I was the first person of the day to sit on a chair and break it. Amazing. I am a large man. We're in some pretty sturdy folding chairs right now, however. But yeah, the tour has been great. I've been friends with the guys in Papa Roach for the better part of a decade, and I've been friends with Danny and the Asking guys for probably about 5 years. I've just gotten to know like the rest of the band more recently, and yeah, it's just great, man. Like super pro dudes, like just the crew has been amazing. Our crew gets along with everybody's crew. There's like, there are guys in their crew that I grew up with in the scene and on the East Coast and in LA, and it's just like a big family tour, and the vibes are really, really positive, man. It's just, we couldn't have asked to be on a better summer tour, and like we kind of, Danny and Jacoby and I were talking about this in January of 2017 or 2018. So the fact that it like a year and a half around it actually came to fruition is pretty cool.
That's awesome. I actually saw you guys were last in Grand Rapids in November, I think, when you were with Five Finger Death Punch.
Oh yeah, and it was Breaking
Yep,
Benjamin.
and Breaking Benjamin. Yeah. I saw you at that show, and it was crazy because I'd never seen you guys before, and I was just like, it's always awesome when you see a band that's opening for like a big arena show that can get the whole crowd into what's happening. Because I go to a lot of arena shows where like you feel bad for that opener because there's no one there yet, and like the crowd is like.
That's because some openers don't deserve to be playing in front of such big audiences.
That is definitely the case.
Yeah, I'll say that outright. That's just reality. Like, the guys in Bad Wolves, we all are like, lifelong musicians, and all of us come from extreme metal backgrounds. We've all been touring for 20 plus years, so it's not like, if you, and Zoltan manages us, and they've been a huge incremental step in helping the band. They obviously took us out all last year on tour, and they saw something in us, and they're like, this band needs to be heard, and they put us in front of their fans, and now we share fans, and we have some of our old school like diehard fans from previous bands, and it's just cool, man. It's a good time.
I can honestly say I've never met somebody that knows you that has a bad thing to say about you, which is pretty incredible.
That's cool. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we actually share a connection, a small one. My girlfriend, my partner, she's actually the box office manager here at the venue. She worked with you at the Key Club when you did security.
Oh, wow, yeah, Brittany. I was a security guard. Oh, really?
She's in the room right now. After this, we could say hi real quick. She's in there if you want.
Oh, yeah, I got to go say hi. That's crazy. That's so
one
crazy.
Day I was playing your music in our apartment, and she was just like, who is this? And I was like, it's Bad Wolves. And she was like, my friend Tommy's in that band. And I was like, what? And she's just like...
Yeah, we worked together in I think 2007 or 8 or something like that. Yeah, and the Key Club changed now.
That's what I always hear.
Yeah, it turned into a nightclub. So the Key, for people who don't know, the Key Club was like a rock metal club next to the Rainbow Room and the Roxy on the Sunset Strip in Hollywood, and every Monday night Steel Panther used to play. They had a different name.
Story that I always
Yeah, they used to be called Metal School, and it was always like, and they only did covers. It was before they started writing originals with that lineup, and it was just, it was like a star-studded thing. It would be like, the Dodgers would come in, or the Lakers, and then Disturbed would show up, and Alice in Chains, and Stained, and Slipknot, and you're just like, what is happening here? Like all these people, like Vince Vaughn and Keanu Reeves would be hanging out, and you're just like, this is cool. Yeah, and so and I used to do stage security for them.
Something I love about your story is because you're like this big fan of music when you're young, and you see a lot of these like what are now considered like iconic album tours when they first happen, and then you work in music but not on stage, and you work your way up to being this front person in a band that's like now you're playing the same clubs that you used to work at and all these other things like that. It has to be surreal for you to do that full circle.
Yeah, I think that being a band that's in arenas is kind of like insane, because I've been doing the club tour since I don't know. I've been touring since like 2002 in clubs. I had a hardcore band. I've been in bands since I was 14 years old, and I had a fake ID, and I got an indie deal when I was 18, and I was like traveling around touring with like bands like Candiria and Burnt by the Sun. Then I got signed to Roadrunner Records, and I was in a band with Dino from Fear Factory, Tim from Morbid Angel, and Joe from Nile, and then me. So it was like a death metal band that had melodic singing sometimes, and then we toured all over the world with bands like Killswitch and Static X and Shadows Fall and Arch Enemy, and so like there was that. Then I did Snot. And Snot was a band that I grew up listening to, and one of my favorite bands as a kid. And so, their lead singer had passed away about 20-something years ago, and I did their reunion shows and got to play with Mudvayne on one of the last Mudvayne tours, just like stuff like that. And so, it's always been up and down. And, what people don't realize is like just because you're in a band doesn't mean things are all good. And so I've always maintained jobs at home, like either whether I was working security, and then I wound up getting sober, and then I started working in recovery and running sober living facilities and helping people in rehabs. And then I became a counselor, and then a sober companion. And then I was traveling around doing that for a while.
Yeah, this is actually, I want to touch on the new song and the new record. I know you talked about that a lot, but the thing that fascinates me most about what you do, and I don't mean this as any offense to the music because I'm a huge fan, but I love the things that I don't think make the headlines about the work you do with other musicians and sober living and getting sober and getting clean. That's a story that I always hear like behind the scenes by people, and I'm always like, why doesn't he talk about that stuff more?
Well, I mean, I've had a lot of celebrity clients and stuff, and we don't break anyone's anonymity.
Yeah, it's like a no kiss and tell.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, it's like you have to respect, like, it's just like, I am very open about my recovery. I think some people like Ivan are very open about their path to recovery. And, there's many people in the music industry, that are open about it, but you have to choose to be like, hey, I'm in this lifestyle. And so, yeah, I mean, it's just, for me, I wound up, my addiction and my alcoholism took me to a place of like dereliction. I was homeless, and I had no job, and I was like a mess. I was coming off of, I lost, my ex had lost our baby to a heroin relapse, and she almost died, and the baby died, and I just like could not reconcile. And I wound up just, using drugs and drinking and trying to kill myself with it. And eventually I got help. And one of the guys in Snot, actually, Sonny, who's one of my best friends, he's been sober a long time, and he took me in, and he like helped me out. And those kind of acts of kindness in my early sobriety really, I don't know, they change you as a person, especially when you've been on your own for a really long time, and you start to see like the power of altruism. And that, for me, the quality of my life isn't really about how much money I have or how many records we sell or how big the shows are. It's about, am I having a positive influence on somebody else's life? And that experience is how it changed my mentality. And so, yeah, it's just like, I don't know. It's just like, I like to be happy, and I'm naturally an anxious, depressed kind of, like, I have those issues. I have PTSD. And so if I want to be happy, I got to and I want to have self-esteem, I got to do esteemable acts, and I got to take, I got to take some action, which is like sometimes I meditate, or I go to group therapy meetings. I have a therapist. I do all that stuff, and I try to help somebody. It's the touring schedule keeps us pretty busy, so it's hard to find people to help. You know what I mean? But yeah, so I'll even I train like some guys on the road and at the gym, and like whatever. As long as I'm doing something nice for somebody and like helping them, I feel good.
I feel like it's you're almost in a great position to do what you do because of the music, because you get the mindset in a way that if you were to try to find like a sober living coach or even a mindful coach outside of music, you kind of have to get them into your lifestyle. You have to tell them like, this is what my life is. You kind of come into it from the perspective of like, I know what it's like.
Yeah, I've worked with some mega stars and gone, and like, so obviously going on tour with people like that, and it's like, it's actually like it's a different level. It's like, you're like, it's like private jets and craziness and 20 assistants.
The real surrealness.
Yeah. And like, living with security guards that are like the size of refrigerators. You're just like, this is kind of weird, bro.
Making you feel small, and you're a big guy already?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was always a house mouse, though. I'm only 6'1". I'm like 6'1". I'm about 260 pounds.
That's a wall to me. That's like
yeah, but I'm small. Like I was a bodyguard for a long time, and I was a bouncer for even longer, and I was always like the small dude. Like, ask your girl about Bud. Like, they used to call Bud my big twin brother because Bud's like a foot. He looks just like me, and he's a foot taller than me. He's like crazy. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the song "I'll Be There" is out now. Is there a video coming for it?
There is a video coming for it. We shot it in LA. It's being edited. That was one of the things I have to like check out and approve. But yeah, we did a live performance video in downtown LA, and I'll Be There it's pretty cool, man. It actually, we consider it a metal song, and it wound up charting in the top 20 on the rock charts, which is weird.
I saw that.
Yeah, and we're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I saw a little graphic the PR company made for like how well it did at radio the first week, which was super impressive. But I was like, I also considered it a metal song when I first heard it. And I was like, I guess this is rock.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if we have, if like, obviously we have anyone who knows the band knows that we're a metal band and we have rock songs, like, because we love both genres of music, and I don't really subscribe to like some sense of like narcissistic false elitism of like, you only have to be like this or you only have to be like that. I feel like all great bands, if you're really versatile, like bands like System of a Down and Faith No More and Deftones, they don't even have a genre. Metallica is like the first band to even do that. They like basically created what we consider the platform what metal is, and then they had songs like One, and then the Black Album really turned everything on its head. So we don't really like adhere to like whatever genre. We just write songs that we love, and it's cool that radio is like responding to that song when we were like, people were like, oh, that's too heavy, it's never going to go to radio, or it's not going to ever, and then it's like, Music Choice, it wound up becoming the number one pick on Music Choice, and then we see it like on the charts, and we're like, oh, like maybe people want to hear heavy metal again on the radio.
It's coming around, I think.
Yeah, well, think about like Under and Over It All by Five Finger, and Mudvayne had a bunch of tough songs.
I miss Mudvayne a lot.
Yeah, me too.
I just saw
me
Hell
too.
Yeah was just here last week, and it's great, but I'm still the whole time I'm like, man, I would kill to see Mudvayne
Yeah.
again.
Hell Yeah is a great band, and their tour is killing it. And I've known Chad a long time, having opened up for Mudvayne, and he always kind of looked out for me when I was young. And but Mudvayne's like, but the whole point is like they were, Chop Suey is a Bulls on Parade, there's like all these songs that are like, they're heavy, and it's cool that rock stations play rock, but sometimes you need a punch in the dick or pussy. I don't know, you know what I mean? Like you need a little bit more, a little more.
I feel like the climate right now also, it's this weird, like, everyone has been getting so angry in the last couple of years that like it's the perfect time for like something like that to come back around, because people are like, I need an outlet, and then here's heavy music again, and they're embracing. I mean, Slipknot with the number one album right now, you're just like, okay, 102,000 people bought a Slipknot record last week. That's crazy.
Yeah, but I mean, that's that's like that's the byproduct of curating decades worth of consistency and fans, and we hope to be like one of those bands. I was having this conversation with Jacoby the other night. Like, I was like, I want to be a legacy band. Like, it's not about where we fall of what genre, or, I don't even like that term, because I listen to so much different music. But it's just about, can we consistently deliver good instrumental music with vocals and a message in the lyrics that make people feel something that they want to come back for? Because that's what I needed as a kid. I didn't go to church. I went to go see Pantera, because they were they were telling me what I needed to hear. You know what I mean? Like I was going to see bands like Fear Factory and Machine Head, or like hardcore bands like Hatebreed and E-Town Concrete and Burned by the Sun and Candiria and Madball, or like H2O and Sick of It All, or or any of the other bands, like, then Sepultura broke into two bands, and, like I was there for all that, and I guess that makes me old, but, I watched the rise of nu metal and rap metal and the decline, and then I was on the ground floor for the rise of the new wave of American metal, with bands like Lamb of God and Killswitch Engage and Unearth and God Forbid and As I Lay Dying, and it's just like, what's going to be next? That's what I'm looking. I'm like, are we going to be involved in that?
Are you a part of what's coming,
can we?
or what's happening?
Yeah, I hope so. And it's like we're actively looking for bands to help get signed too, because Zoltan's management company, he's taking on new bands. We're going to be going out with them this fall from November to mid-December, and he's managing our friend's band Fire from the Gods. And and so this whole kind of conglomerate that we put together of bands helping other bands get signed, because let's be honest, like a lot of the A&R doesn't exist anymore, and the labels are scared to take a risk. It's true though, they don't want to take a risk. It used to be the old guys would just like they just like sign everything and then throw it against the wall and see what's stuck, via like hence the spaghetti incident by Guns N' Roses. And and the reality is that because of downloading, the money isn't there to do that. I really like, I try to talk about, I talked about that last night, 2 nights ago on stage, that the miracle of Zombie selling, it went platinum in the United States. It sold millions of copies worldwide. And, we obviously gave the proceeds, to Dolores' family. But the thing is that what we did was unprecedented. We were the only band in the United States to go platinum on the charts. We kicked Drake off the charts. We kicked off, Cardi B and like all this pop garbage music. And people need to understand that, yeah, sure, you don't want to spend money on a record because you can get it for free. But like, it's $10. That's like a beer. That's a beer at a concert. And the reality is that when you spend that $10, it's not about like, oh, is the band going to get the money or who's going to get the money? What it does is, as a community, we need to continue to make a statement that we are here and we're not going anywhere. Because I talked to Billboard, I talked to Rolling Stone, and they asked me, how does it feel to be a brand new band to put rock back on the charts? And I'm like, rock is not dead. Yeah. I go on tour sold out. Go on arena tour sold out. I go to Europe, festival sold out. Hundreds, thousands, millions of people from here to Europe, Australia, South America, pick it. It's just that, it's almost like a voting thing. Like, we need people, like at this point, it's not a monetary thing, because we're going to be playing shows and people are going to come see us because that's what rock and roll is. But the reality is that every time you buy a record or you download something, that you're voting for that genre of music to stay alive.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the industry responds when you do that. So, it's like, I don't think people realize how much power they have.
Yeah.
And so, it's an interesting time. So,
well, with that in mind, when can people look forward to buying the new Bad Wolves record?
We're going to drop Bad Wolves Nation on October 25th.
Dang, it's so close.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're playing with Marilyn Manson that day too in Dallas.
Is there a Bad Wolves headlining tour in the pipeline?
We're working on it. We're pretty booked up from now
until at least summer next year, I imagine.
No, till the spring of next year. So, yeah. So I know that we're gonna go. I have a co-headlining Australian tour that's just acoustic. That starts in when does it start? December. I'm literally taking a 20-hour flight from the last Five Finger show to Brisbane and playing that night. And me and Doc are doing acoustic sets, and Danny Warsnop from Asking Alexandria, we're flip-flopping. So we're going to do like a little pre-Christmas tour, and he's getting engaged. His wedding is in New Zealand, so we all like, well, it'd be sick. Why don't we just go, And then everyone's going to like spend Christmas together in Australia.
Amazing, man. Well, it seems like things are going well for you. Makes me happy. What I love about watching Bad Wolves grow is that I feel like there are so many bands that might have had something like Zombie happen and then not be able to capitalize or convert or whatever industry term you want to use. And it seems like you guys, every 3 to 4 weeks, I hear something new about Bad Wolves accomplishing something or putting something out or announcing something.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's scary, the monumental success of Zombie, however you want to slice it. It was scary. We were afraid, what if we're a one-hit wonder? But all of our singles went number one, and Remember When just went to the top of the Billboard charts and stayed for a couple weeks at number one. And that's a song that's really serious. It's a song about mental health issues and addiction and the family disease of alcoholism and drug addiction. And so people, it's showing that art that has content and value is striking a chord with people. People are tired of like, I just met you, this is crazy, call me maybe, which is like basically every single song I hear on the radio, or just like, just, I don't know. Rap is, I don't know what happened to rap music. I grew up where rap in New York City, where rap was born, and it was poetry. It was like the language of the proletariats, the undercut people. And it was like talking about the struggle and then the conversion from struggle into success. And now it's just about, I don't know. It's just like hookers selling their pussy and drug dealers selling drugs, and I don't know what the fuck these people are talking. Half these rappers don't even talk anymore. They just mumble. So anyway, I'm the old Tommy Vext on my old rocking chair.
Last thing.
Hating on everybody.
I wanted to know if you got a kick out of, I know earlier this summer when Static X started that tour, they started telling people that you were the masked Wayne Static. Did you get a kick out of that? Did you hear about this?
No, I didn't hear about that till way after, and I don't know.
It made me laugh. I actually interviewed them, and I was sitting there with them. They made that reference, and I was like, I've seen that guy. He's not Tommy. He's like way too tiny.
Yeah, I would never, ever do that. Yeah, I toured with the real Static X, and like, I think it's good that they're all the band's getting together despite the tragedy. But yeah, I would never fucking do that. No.
I just thought it was like a nice little paying credit to you, though, to be like, he's a good enough vocalist. He could be that guy. Yeah,
I mean, yeah, I could sing all those songs. It's not.
It's strange. It is a little weird.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, I'm good on that. You know what I mean? If somebody needs me and they're in trouble, I show up. I'll handle it. You know what I mean? But like, I'm not. Yeah, no, that's a big no.
It'll be good. Don't worry about it. Fair enough. Well, I think they're going to bring in a fan club here soon, so we should get out of here. But I do appreciate you talking to me for a little bit. I wanted to make this happen in November on the Five Finger Tour, and it didn't come together. So I reached out to the company I work for, Holics. 11/7 does all your album promotion through us. So I reached out to Dana and the team there and was like...
Yeah, Crystal called me yesterday and was like, hey, can you do this? I was like,
yeah. Sure. I've been pushing them since November, and I was like, this is the opportunity, guys. And they were like, we'll see how busy he is tomorrow. And I was like, okay, well, I live in Grand Rapids. It's not that exciting.
All right. Well, I'm glad we made it happen.
Thank you so much, man.
And we should do this again sometime.
Hope so.